Very warm welcome to the Gangneung Curling Centre, hosting the 2018 PyeongChang Paralympic Winter Games wheelchair curling event. This is the fourth Paralympic Games to include curling, the first of them being in Turin 2006. My name is Logan Gray and I'll be bringing you live commentary throughout this first session, where our featured game will be on Sheet C between the USA and the Republic of Korea. Well, all the teams out here for the first time this week and being welcomed here for this first session. Let's meet the teams. USA will be led by Penny Greeley. Second player for USA will be Justin Marshall. Third player, Steve Empt. And of course the charismatic Skip. And fourth player, Kirk Black.
Switzerland versus Canada.
I believe the families have all travelled over for the USA to support. And the Korean team is led by Bang Min-ja.
United States of America versus
Second
Republic
player,
of Korea.
Seo Sum-suk. Third player, Jong Seung-won. And the fourth, Cha Jae-gon.
On sheet D, Germany versus neutral Paralympic athletes.
Well, all the teams are being introduced at the moment, and there's no doubt that USA will be wanting to follow up on their success 2 weeks ago to the day in the Olympics. USA brought home the gold medal in the men's event, and they've been speaking about that in their preparations and how much they would like to follow that up with a gold here in the Paralympics. And these are all the teams participating this week. Of course, the format here will be all 12 teams playing against everybody else, 11 games in total. The top 4 teams will qualify for the semi-finals, and that will be determined on their wins and loss records. It doesn't come down to shot difference or anything like that. It will be purely wins and losses, and in every single session, every single game, there will be a winner, even if it has to go to an extra end. Games last 8 ends. And on the scoreboard there, 38 minutes of thinking time available to both teams to complete their full complement of shots throughout the game. Another player we've not seen there, Megan Lino, the alternate, affectionately known as Frodo, Lord of the Rings reference, because she's the smallest member of the team. And nice to see some schools in supporting and learning about the importance of the Paralympic Games and the inclusive elements. Lee Rong-gat, the alternate for Korea. Quite often you'll see the teams having 2 female players. They need to have at least 1 player of each gender playing in the lineups. Korea actually only have 1 female player with them this week, but most of the teams will have at least 2 of each gender in their teams. USA will be playing the red stones and wearing the red shirts here in this first session. Korea wearing the white tops and throwing the yellow stones.
Calm, cool, and collected. Take care of it. Yeah, you got this. All right, first end. Open up center guard. You have her come in. Yep. Okay. All right, we got this. Nice and loud. 1, 2, 3. USA!
Interesting to see the different approaches already. The Korean team very much kind of encouraging each other and giving it high fives, whereas USA setting out their game plan in the first end. So it will be the lead player for Korea, Bang Min-ja, starting the game. Of course, the 2 teams do throw a couple of draws in the pre-game practice to determine who has the last stone advantage in the first end. USA came out on top, so they'll be throwing second. And the Paralympics wheelchair event is underway here in the Gangneung Curling Centre. Bang Min-ja sets off the first stone for the hosts, Korea. And throws a nice draw into the house. The teams do tend to use stopwatches to determine the speed of the ice. They'll measure the time taken between certain lines to create a kind of consistent format for them to determine how quick the ice conditions are and adjust their throws accordingly. This is Penny Greeley, the only player in the curling event to have won medals at both the summer game, to have won a game at the Summer Olympics. Won the bronze in 2004 in the sitting volleyball event. So we'd love to follow it up with a medal here in the wheelchair curling at the Winter Games. So after that miss by the USA, they were trying to remove that Korean stone. Bang Min-ja will try and protect that stone by throwing one in front of it. And nicely done. Comes down onto the center line and covers some of that yellow stone at the back of the red circle. It'll be interesting to find out what the teams are feeling like early on. This will be a nice nerve settler here for Penny Greeley. Makes an excellent takeout on that stone at the back of the forefoot and keeps the thrown stone in the house too. Korea will want to remove that one now. And the skip there. Seo Sun-suk giving the directions. Skip at the other end of the ice to the other three players, indicating what shot to be played and how much weight and what line to be thrown on. So Sun-suk going for the takeout on the wing here. Nicely done. Now onto the nose. Well, Kirk Black there, known as the grandfather, affectionately by Justin Marshall, who named him that. Justin, the youngest player in the team at 31 years old, playing in his first Paralympic Winter Games. All of the male members of this USA here for the first time, whereas the two female players did play in 2014. Well, both teams making it look easy out on the wing here with some excellent takeout plays. Quite a long way away. It's about 40 meters, 35 meters from where the players are throwing. They do start a little bit closer than the players do in the Olympic format of curling. Of course, they play from a hack about 7 or 8 meters further back. Oh, well, mistake here from Korea. That one over curls and leaves the USA stone out on the wing. So all of a sudden, a great chance for the USA to put multiple points on the board here in the first end.
조금 올리라 했잖아. 9초까지만 나와야지. 너무 많이. 9초에 8초 후반 나와야지. 9초.
Chat and Seo debrief to try and work out what just happened there. Why did they miss that shot? Because they really need to learn from every single stone to make sure that it doesn't happen the next time.
Very nice, Justin. 12-6.
Well, 12-6 is the call from Kirk Black, and that was the time recorded between the two red hog lines out on the ice. Letting the player know exactly how hard he's thrown it, how quick the ice is, so that his teammates can make effective draws with their stones still to come. This is our first look at Jung-Seung-won. He's the oldest player of this Korean team, 59 years old. This Korean team kind of came back from the wilderness a little bit. They were in the World B Championships in 2015, but fought their way back into the World A group and claimed the bronze medal in 2016. And here's Steve Empt throwing the third stones for the USA. He's a maths teacher, full-time maths teacher, and he's also the high school basketball coach. He says he loves curling because of the mathematical element of it, all the geometry involved. And he's got everything right there. Makes the take out on the wing, and USA lie to. Just 3 stones each to come here in this first end. The Korean players willing it to curl to make the roll in behind. They just make the hit and stick, so USA still lying 1. Lots of different techniques and the equipment used by the players. See Steve Empt here with kind of linear forwards motion, but some of the other players have a bit more of a grip on the handle and they can pull it back to generate a little bit more momentum that way. Each to themselves, it's whatever works best and gets the stones down there in the right position. Steve Empt with 2 excellent takeouts.
Nice pair.
Thank you.
He's got a very deep voice, Steve Empt. So here's Cha Jae-gwon, who's the vice skip and 4th player for Korea. 46 years old. This is actually the first time that Korea have adopted a kind of a selection approach to picking the players who come out to the event. Normally they just send their national champions, but kind of evolved a team and trying to get the best players in each position to maximize their medal hopes here. Korea looking to follow up on their silver medal from 2010 in Vancouver.
Yeah.
You want it up top, you want it above the tee?
Instead of splitting the house, just use that as a guard so they can't come down and sit on top of that one. Cancel us all out.
Kirk Black just having some issues with getting the cue set correctly, making sure he's got a good grip on handle here. If it's loose at all, then he won't be able to deliver it online or get the rotation on the stone that he's looking for. This one's going to come down on the anti-clockwise handle here. Black actually has a long motocross racing history, 20 years as a motocross racer. He also served in the US Army and came into curling through a national veterans event actually back in 2007 was the first time he tried curling. Comes up a little bit shy with that one. He would have liked to get that one down into the house, and Korea now with a chance to remove the only stone in the house. So off it goes, Korea's final stone of this first end. Just needs to really get that red USA stone out of there. Really well done here by Cha Jae-gwan. Doesn't manage to stick the shooter, but does the main thing and gets rid of that pesky USA stone. Well, I don't think we'll see USA wanting to score here in this first end. They like to keep the last stone advantage when they can, and by blanking the end, the last stone advantage carries over to the second end. So USA just throw this one away, and the first end will end with no score. That's quite common to happen, especially in the early stages of the event. Both teams playing quite conservatively, just trying to ease themselves in. So high fives for a job well done in the first end. And we're going to have to wait for the second end to get the first score of this first session. Four games in action. Yeah, 4 games in action out here in this first session. Norway against GB, Switzerland against Canada, and Germany versus the neutral Paralympic athletes. Both teams a little bit down on their draws in that first end. To be expected really as they come to grips with the playing conditions here in the Gangneung Curling Centre.
Oh, he missed it.
So Bang Minja, 55-year-old, gets her first stone away in this second end. Had a couple of really nice shots in the first end to set the Republic of Korea up. Not a bad shot there by Bang, but would have liked to be a little bit further north in the house. course, if you drift past the button in the middle of the house, then it allows your opposition to come and rest against it and act as a little bit of a catcher. And Penny really makes the takeout. It's a good correction after her miss in the first end. Just hits and rolls out for the Republic of Korea. Well, this next call will be interesting for the USA. Do they choose to come into the house or do they want to throw a guard? Difficult to say given where they've given ice. It could be either or. From Wisconsin.
Very nice, Penny.
Does throw a corner guard. These need to be so much more accurate in wheelchair curling than
15-2.
in comparison to the Olympic format. They don't have the sweepers there to give them that extra tolerance to be able to sweep the stones into position. They only have 3 feet really to get the speed right, as well as the men's and women's teams. They have all that space between the hack and the hog line to really get their speed right. Get a good look here as the stone starts there, and then they just hold on to the stone for a few feet and then off it goes. So little time to get the right distance. So yeah, play the peel. Nice shot there by Seo Sun-suk. Sun-suk was lucky enough to be granted the honour of lighting the Paralympic flame at the opening ceremony alongside the skip of the Garlic Girls, the national women's team who won the silver medal at the Olympics 2 weeks ago. Kim Yoon-jung alongside Seo Sun-suk. A really nice moment and a great moment for curling as well to have such prominence at the opening ceremony, which was a spectacular affair at the Olympic Stadium.
$15-6. Nice weight.
Very nice, Justin.
Well, more communication about the weight. We heard, I think, 12.6 or 12.7 for his draw, which went past the T line. That one being 15.6. So the longer time, it takes longer to pass between the two hog lines, and therefore comes up short of the house. 3 seconds difference between that one and the draw in the first end. We're going for the peel again here, just over curls a fraction, and that one might stay in a useful position for the USA, who've got the mistake that they were looking for.
That one's pretty far out there. Let him throw one more, let him sit over there, and then we'll...
That's fine.
Well, an aggressive call here for the USA, choosing to throw another corner guard. They could choose to draw around that yellow stone left by the Republic of Korea.
Good line.
And Justin Marshall
Very nice, Justin.
is comfortable with being referred to as the quirky one of the team.
16.
He's the one who has a bit of fun with the players and keep things light and breezy, and I think he said in one of his kind of pre-event articles that that he's been trying to encourage his teammates to take part in a joust with him using their wheelchairs and their brushes. Could be interesting. Not sure it'd be a spectator sport, but who knows?
가드가 두 개니까 필을 해야 되는 게 맞을지 우리가 이거 필을 하면 상대가 또 컴을 할까 하냐 감독적으로 우리가 먼저 들어가는 건 어떠냐 이게
지금 굳이 그럴 필요는 없을 것 같은데.
가드 한 개 더
초반이라.
가드가 하나 더 있는데
그럼 그렇게 하자고 그러면.
뭐 하기로 했어? 잡을 거야 세현이가 선택해서 잡아주면
Quick discussion there between the skip and the vice, Seo and Chat. What's the plan of attack here? We're halfway through this second end. Need to determine whether they're going to be a bit more attacking in this end. It's been very defensive so far. All the stones have a letter and a number on them to help identify. So we're playing on sheet C. So all of the stones, both red and yellow, will have a C at the end of the handle, and then the two stickers on the either side of the handle will have a number, which helps them to identify which stone that they're throwing. They are all slightly different. So Korea changing things up here in the second end and throwing the draw around the corner guard. He's got to be happy with that one. And all of a sudden USA on the back foot, perhaps being punished for turning down the chance to draw with their previous shot. Well, just a tap back required here for Steve Empt. Try and come around that long corner guard thrown, but it's over curled here and actually straight raises it into the house and right down into shot position. Can you believe that one from Steve Empt?
Seems like we drew it up. Got back
I think you need to apologise for that one, Steve. That was not the nominated shot. Here's another look. Actually hits it perfect, goes out around the yellow and starts to curl back into the middle to be nicely hidden behind the guard. Incredible stuff there.
No doubt.
Korea still can see a good portion of that red stone around the outside of the guard and will now try to remove it from play. The way inside there and just removes the guard. Does open up the two stones in the house though, so maybe they'll get a second chance at removing that red one.
13-5?
I had 13-3 on this yellow one.
Yeah, 13 stealing.
13, you got it.
13.
13.
Steve Empt plays out of the Cape Cod Curling Club and the Norfolk Curling Club. He works in West Hartford in Connecticut. I'm just going to try and split the rings here, so
13-4.
by that I mean put a stone on the opposite side from the one that's already shot to lie
Very
to.
nice.
That is perfectly done by Steve Empt.
Kirk, you like that one?
By putting them dead
Think I got
level
an
and
asterisk for that one?
a good distance apart, what it prevents the Republic of Korea from doing is playing a double takeout out on the two red stones. If you put them close together, then there's more chance. That really was perfectly done. They couldn't have gone down and placed that one in a better spot. So work to do here for Korea as we come down to the skip stones. hit. Goes sideways across the house, but doesn't quite get hidden behind that guard. Nice shot there by PyeongChang.
저 스톤, 빨간 스톤 이상스럽게 저렇게 들어가.
그러니까 지금 재수가 지금 있어요. 들어가고 보니까.
Nine five.
Yep.
Well, I really enjoyed reading about Kirk Black before this game begun. He's a really interesting fellow. He's tried his hand at numerous different sports, including throwing events and track and field. He's tried para-archery. But I found that in the end that curling was his calling, and he lives in Texas, where there's no dedicated curling facilities. So I actually spend 6 months of the year living in Madison, Wisconsin, to make sure that he can get the playing conditions that he needs to succeed at this level. That one doesn't work out though for Kirk Black. Really missed on the wrong side there. Over curls and raises the Korean stone onto their own and loses them both. That's a real end changer there from the American skip.
I think the broom is more than fine.
So Korea lying 2 now.
저
You can
스톤이
choose to
약간 보여도 돼. 안 보이면 대박.
throw one into the front of the house here to lie 3 and block the way in for the USA's final stone. Great chance all of a sudden for Korea.
오케이, 나 이겼잖아.
Oh, this looks pretty good if this stops anywhere about now. Super shot. It's going to be difficult for USA to score here.
I'll get 3/4 of it.
Only have half of that
약간 긴장하고
at best.
Try that.
긴장하고 있는 거.
He knows the top one.
I knows the top one.
챙겨요. 바로 가야 되니까.
I think that's what you have to do is you have to nose it.
What's that?
It's either nose or a draw, and I think the nose is the better of the two.
Just run that straight back. I mean, even if he knows it for some reason, you stick. We'll get it. They're gonna be shot. We'll give him one. That's fine.
Yep.
If he knows it and run it back, we'll double it.
Yeah, you have to. They're sitting 3, so. A little less.
Well, a few options here. They could try and play
Yeah,
on
skip.
to that Yellowstone closest to the middle to score 1. They could just throw a draw, or they're probably going for the safest option here and choosing to hit that yellow just played by Cha Jae-gon.
Nose in the top.
They know that if they remove that one and stick around, then the worst that's going to happen is they're going to lose 1. If they try something a bit more adventurous, then they could risk losing 2 or even 3. But if they get this one just right, hit that first one right on the nose, play the double takeout on the 2 yellows closest to the center line, then they can still score here in the second end. Justin Marshall moves in behind to buddy and keep the American skip steady. Well, looks pretty close. Is it going to curl enough? Oh, actually over curls by a fraction. And it's a steal of 1 here in the second end for Korea. That one just curling a fraction too much, but sticks around to lie second shot and out count the wide one. And then that looked so promising for the USA doesn't bear fruit. And it's a score of 1 in the second end for Korea. And after 2 ends, it's Republic of Korea 1, USA 0.
여기서는 우리한테 주어지는 시간이 있으니까.
So just that solitary single in the second end so far, breaking the two teams apart. USA not managing to score with the last stone advantage so far, the hammer it's called. The advantage of having that one unanswered stone at the end of the end. I think overall the USA have had the upper hand. And looked the better of the two teams in early stages, but at the moment it's not converting into points on the scoreboard. And every end, PyeongChang has just slipped a little bit too far into the house.
Third end.
It's all the way back. Yeah.
It's either or. There's one options out there. You want to like that? Stay with it.
That's
If I
fine.
can stay with it.
2.
Penny is married with her husband Dave, and she has a son called Nate. Plays out of the Green Bay Curling Club, and actually mentioning Green Bay, I believe that she's challenged the Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers to a game of curling, one that he's not responded to yet. So if you're watching, Aaron, then Penny's waiting to hear from you. I believe he had some exchanges with Matt Hamilton, the second player for the Olympic men's team, on social media. Well, USA for the first time really in this game starting to take the game to Korea. We've seen them call a takeout in the first two ends, which would be seen to be a more kind of defensive tactic. This time going for the corner guard, which would signal a more aggressive approach. Well, a good adjustment here from PyeongChang into the front of the house this time.
Yeah. 그렇지.
Bang, bang. He just knows that that's okay.
What kind of weight you want?
Normal.
So Penny using the cues that kind of grabs the stone, pull it back,
Very nice,
and then
Penny.
send it on its way. Oh, makes the hit and gets the back one as well. What a shot by Penny Greeley. Empties the house. And USA looking good here already in this third end.
No, it's still in.
Backing.
Oh, it's on. It's on.
Hold on.
You want to look? Over the top of it, it's on.
Well, so Sun Suk just waiting for some direction, actually some discussion between the vice skip for Korea and Kirk Black about whether that yellow stone in the back line's still in play or not. If it's touching that black line at the back at all, it's deemed to be in the playing area, which ends at that line and starts at the red hog line. The only difference being that the stone needs to be fully over the red hog line to be in play. And anything outside of the playing area is just put to the bumpers at the other end, wait for the next end to begin. Well, good shot there by Seo. Hits and rolls away from the corner guard, which is what they'll want to do. They don't really want to get sucked into a game that plays around a guard out in the wings. That's exactly what a team with the last stone would want to do, but Korea don't have that luxury here in the third. just willing this one to curl. Hanging a little bit wide at the moment. Does enough to get it out of the house, but doesn't manage to stick around. And Jae-Gon charges out to call the peel on the corner guard. So just going to try and remove that red stone from play. Quite a defensive tactic. As I said before, they don't really want to get involved in an exchange around the stone out on the wing where it's not really going to give them too much reward. So good safe call here by the Korean vice skip. Oh, well played as well. Peels the guard off, and now nothing in play. It does look from this overhead camera that the yellow stone in the back line's out of play, but
or you can put a guard up.
It's really not the best angle. It can be quite misleading.
Put a guard up. Okay.
Put it up, they're going to peel it. You know that.
That's fine.
Yep.
Well, we just heard Steve Empt saying you might as well throw a guard here because we know that Korea are going to try and peel it, and so much of the strategy in curling is around anticipating what your opposition are going to do next. You never know, sometimes you might just get that odd mistake from the opposition, which creates an unexpected opportunity.
Got it, Justin?
Not successfully done once again by Justin. Still quite early to be able to say what these teams' kind of mentality is. It's very easy to say that Korea look like a very defensive team at the moment, but actually you would expect the teams to play more defensively when they don't have the last stone. And I mentioned that sometimes you will get mistakes from your opposition, and that's exactly what the USA have got here, exactly what they were looking for. Korea over curling and leaving their yellow stone in play in that guard area where USA can now come around it to try and hide one in behind and score two with the last stone. Struggle with a draw on one of the first two ends, and once again he's over curled here and chipped the guard. That's disappointing there for the USA. That was a real chance. Here's a look, just over curling. Stones run straight for a long time, and then when the speed starts to come out, they dive and duck, and that one over curling into that guard. Trying to make a draw of his own around the guards. It's past the wide one, just. And he needs for it to stop to stay in play, and it does so. Again, one of the main differences between wheelchair curling and the Olympic format is that when the stone crosses the tee line, then the opposition team are allowed to try and sweep it back to get it as far as possible away from the middle, and maybe in the men's or women's team game, then that one would have been a bit closer to the back line.
Got it.
So it really doesn't put a lot of pressure on the USA, and now they can play another draw, try and hide behind that yellow stone that Steve Emp chipped before.
Line.
Yeah, it's spasm. You know,
He doesn't look happy with this one either. He
14
looks short of weight, and again chips the guard. It's like there's a magnet in that yellow stone at the moment for Steve Empt as it overcurls and catches. It's starting to turn into quite a difficult spot for the USA, as there's a wall really presented in front of the house, blocking the way in for USA to be able to score here.
세연아 조금만 줄여줘.
티샷이다.
앞에서 들리가 봐.
그렇지, 왼쪽 반대. 이렇게.
Well, we're down to skip stones here in this third end. Cha Jae-gon, the vice skip for Korea, throws the last stones, having to go way out wide here to try and get a second one into the house. Actually looks like maybe throwing up more cover, throwing a guard on the raise.
I think middle of toe is too much. Yeah, to come through there, I think you're going to need to
So
put
maybe
it like
still a chance here
but
for the
throw a
USA
heavier
to
draw.
get another stone in here.
That's what I'm saying.
There's some slight gaps between the guards.
나는 바깥으로 하는 거야.
So
I
we
like
just got to
that.
make sure we get
Yeah,
through
try
this,
and
this
You got
course.
it.
Steer one between those two red stones and play. Down into the white 8-foot circle to lie shot position.
You like that? Going through that port, trying to sit on the back one?
Just
Pardon me?
T-line or what?
Yeah, I think, well, I think it's a little more.
T-line, I think you could use just a touch more.
No, I think it's like back eight weight.
Okay.
You got that one sitting back there. I just don't want to throw T weight and then all of a sudden hit on that guard up there.
Always interesting to listen to the players and what they're trying to achieve. He's indicating he wants to come down and rest against that yellow stone. It's a slightly more defensive approach. They could come higher in the house and maybe give themselves a better chance of scoring two by going right down to this back one. Then they give Korea the chance to play a freeze of their own. So going for the freeze. A freeze is a shot where you try and rest your stone against another one. So you can try and rest this red stone against that yellow that's in the house.
Stay out, stay out, stay out, stay out.
Well,
Stay
is it
out.
by the guard? Oh, it just nicks it.
That's
But
fine. Very
actually,
nice.
it gets quite a good result. Maybe that had a little bit too much speed, and just by chipping that guard, it keeps it in shot position.
아니, 센터로 가서 또 나가도 되잖아.
That'll work.
If it sneaked by, it probably would have gone onto the back yellow, but gets a good result all the same and finishes in shot position.
같이 나가야 돼.
Well, Korea would love to get that red stone out of there, but it's not an easy shot by any stretch of the imagination. We need to get pretty close to that red guard to remove it.
오! 오! 하나! 오! 하나! 됐어, 됐어!
Well, they're screaming at it.
오!
And I think they're going to like it. Has it got it? It has. Great shot by Cha Jae-gon. Nothing fancy about it. Just make sure he gets it out of there.
Big check. Big check.
He knows that USA have got a tricky shot once again here to score. Here's another look. Just chips it out and rolls away. Really well done by the Korean fourth player. He's already had a practice run at this draw. Just needs to make a slight adjustment to the line and weight to make this one. Needs to get by the guards, and it hasn't. Over curls, and it's another score for Korea in the third end. Who needs the last stone advantage? Korea don't. They're now 2-0 up after 3 ends. That yellow stone in the 8 foot in shot position, and scoring one for Korea. High fives all round for a great start to this game for Korea. After 3 ends, they're leading the USA by 2-0. So game stats pretty even overall, but the difference between the two teams very much that Korea at the moment making the right shots at the right time, and USA struggling at the moment. Kurt Black only playing 30% through the first 3 ends in comparison to Cha Jae going up at 58%. Bang Min-ja 75. All of her first stones of the ends drifting to the back of the 8 foot. Maybe a bit of a overcorrection on that one. I think she would have liked that one in the house. Well, 2 is the call, which would signify kind of halfway up the guard zone out front of the house. The players tend to split up the playing area into around about 10 zones potentially, and a score.
Very nice, Penny.
Communication system devised by a Canadian team, skipped by a player called Randy Fairby. They break it up into 10 areas. The free guard zone split into 3. Then 4 is the front of the house, 7 is the tee line, and 10 is the back of the house. You can work out the bits in between. Good corner guard there by Penny Greeley, though, in a perfect spot, really. No need for the touch-sensitive handles that are used in the Olympics. Of course, with the players holding the stone with the cue. Those handles determined whether the stone is hogged or not, as in, is it released before that red line as it's needed to be. In the wheelchair game, they tend to start a little bit further back, so that doesn't really come into play and isn't needed. And just straightens up off the back of that guard and finds a nice spot. Good setup here by Bang Min-ja. This ends a very good example of the strategies employed by the teams with or without the last stone. You'll generally see the team without the last stone trying to put the play in the middle of the sheet, whereas the team with the last stone, they'll play out to the wings and try and keep the center open. Nice draw there by Penny Greeley.
Still got to hit it.
We'll need to see, but that one looks like it's over curl just a fraction. So much curl on the ice here in the Gangneung Curling Centre. I'm going to try and come around the left-hand side of that red guard and remove that red stone now. Well, in the team game, you expect the the players to be shouting for the sweeping, but actually they can't really have any impact. So I guess it's like the golfers being out there and screaming at their ball, telling it to spin and to go. It's very much the same thing here in wheelchair curling, and it worked on that occasion. Korea making the hit and stick on the wing.
Kurt, and just touch more.
Took off right away.
Yeah, it's narrow.
So Justin, also known as Jay,
Yep.
My fault.
made his debut for the USA at last year's World Championship.
Yeah. Off the stick.
Took place in Lucerne in
Off the stick,
Switzerland,
it does that.
That was bad. I haven't seen it that bad.
where the USA
Oh,
finished
threw several
in
days.
7th on that occasion.
The other day, it was the same thing, so
One thing of slight concern for the USA is that their form since the Sochi 2014 Paralympic Games, finished 5th in 2015, then 6th in 2016, and then 7th in 2017. So gradually kind of falling down the order. Seo Sun-suk, the skip and second player for Korea, playing his first stone of the 4th end. My apologies, his second stone of the 4th end. And just over curls a bit.
Yep.
But they've got the centre nice and blocked up at the moment. Although they will be concerned that there's a lot of stones in play for USA to try and hide one behind. USA, on the other hand, will be concerned that they don't really have a
Normal.
straightforward route into the button at the moment. So it does look like it'll be a takeout for Justin, the left-hander, playing out of the Madison Curling Club in Wisconsin.
Yep, got it.
Oh, what a fabulous shot here by the American second player. Steers one between those two yellow guards and removes the shot stone. Sticks around too. Perhaps a little bit unfortunate to sit absolutely plumb in the gap between the two guards, so should be a straightforward takeout here for Korea.
Show me what that is.
거리 많아야 되는데. 거리 많아야 돼.
Wait. Wait. Okay.
Well, brilliantly done by Jung Seung-won, and that's the way it seems so far in this game between Korea and USA. Anything the USA have done, and they've looked like they've had the upper hand a few times, and Korea have hit back at the right times. This is another fabulous shot by the Korean third player, Jung Seung-won.
Yeah, 13.
Well, this isn't the
13.
shot stone anymore, this yellow stone at the front of the house, but USA feeling like they need to move it because it's in such a threatening position. If they did play some sort of a draw in behind those yellow stones, then this would be a good stone for Korea to raise in. Steve Emp struggled a little bit with his draws so far in this game, so going for the takeout here. Be much stronger on his hits.
More.
And this one actually over curls. So Korea lying 2, already leading by 2 shots to 0 here in N4. And now they can try and hook one right around the outside of the guards, come down the right hand side there.
형님,
And onto the edge of the button, to maybe even live 3.
로테이션 죽이면 안 돼. 네 바퀴.
3초 반.
수저가 좀 더 벌려.
조금만 더.
이 정도 괜찮을 것 같아요, 형님.
13초인데.
Well, Cha Jae-gwan asking his skip for a little bit more ice there. Cha sitting behind Jung Seung-won. And quite rightly so. There's no points here for catching the guard. They'll be happy to just get another one into the house and really crank up the heat on the USA here in N4. Maybe the speed just beating this one a little bit. If they'd been in that position at the front of the house, an equal distance from the button at the front of the house, then things would have been a lot more difficult for the USA now, who can just follow that stone down.
Pretty good.
6종대에 하나를
13 then?
이거 한 대 보고.
Yeah, I think so.
그거 하나만 딱 쳐서는 지금 금상첨화야.
So same call as Korea for the USA. Coming on the anti-clockwise, see the handle kind of cocked and offset to the right so that it can be rotated back to 12 o'clock. Get the stone spinning. Players will never throw the stones without a handle, without spinning it. If you just throw it straight, because of the imperfections in the ice and in the stones, they'll just kind of choose their own handle and drift off in any old direction, so you don't really have any control. And again, Steve Emp just continuing to struggle with this draw game, just can't get a matchup of the weight and the line at the moment, and that one coming up short.
더 많이 벌어.
야,
Good time now.
여기 막자.
13-5.
13-8.
뒤에까지 들어가도 되니까.
깊이 들어가면 안 된다. 상황이 좋아져. 세게 물려가지고.
Well, Korea have just had a shot at this one, and they've seen the USA attempt it as well. So they should have a pretty good idea of what the ice is doing.
3초 반. 오케이.
They'll just take the same ice as they took with Jung Seung-won's draw attempt. Just looking for it about 8 foot shorter than where his draw finished.
Wait, wait, wait.
Well, it's curling now, and it's curled into the guard. It's not going to get by, so a real let-off there for the USA.
Yep, halfway to the board. Actually, why don't you go to the board?
Surprising that he missed that one on the inside. He knew full well for the previous stone in the end that there was no points for doing that, but at least the guards are getting a little bit wider, and it forces USA out a bit further towards the foam bumpers on the sheet. This draw here for Kirk Black is by no means a formality. He's struggled so far in this first session, but sometimes it just takes one good shot to turn things around, get some confidence going. Maybe this will be the one for Kirk Black. Anywhere kind of down there in the 8 foot circle would be a good shot. Steve Emp right out there on the bumpers, using the full width of the sheet for this one.
Work. Come on.
Now looking a little bit pacey at the moment here, so they're begging this one to curl onto that back yellow. Has it done it? And it just deflects off that back yellow, and Korea still lying 3. Just feels like at the moment USA have had the door open a few times, and they're just not able to walk through it and put those required finishing touches on. agonizing.
잠깐이.
한 번 더 잡을게.
He doesn't look too despondent. Kurt Black still seems to be very focused on the job in hand and only trailing by 2 at the moment. USA still very much in this game. Cha Jae-kwon really needs to be short of the house here. Well, this is a real gift for the USA. Overthrows it and really gives Kurt Black a great chance to just follow that down and to score. Things would have been so much more difficult if he'd come up short of the house. He even could have thrown a guard there,
3점 만져가기.
given all that clutter out the front of the house. So here is the final stone of the 4th end, and Kurt Black desperately needing to find a good one. Lying 4 against here. 4 yellow stones of Korea in the house. And Kurt Black sends it on its way. Well, how's it looking? Needs to get past the guard, just past the guard. Is it onto the back stone? It's close. Oh, lovely shot by Kurt Black. Finally gets one on the board for the USA. It's been a tough first half for the USA, but thanks to this draw by Kurt Black, they'll only go in at the halftime break, trailing by 1. Hopefully that'll be a good confidence boost for the USA skip. The 2 teams will retire for a 5-minute break, discussion, refuel. But after four ends here in this first session, it's Republic of Korea 2, the United States of America 1. Well, I'll look at the stats there in the first half and don't those stats for the USA 4th player, Kurt Black, tell the story. It's just 36%, way below his best so far in this first half, but did make that crucial final stone of the 4th end to put the USA's first shot on the board and only trail by 1.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead now and get that.
좀 잘하고 계세요, 다들.
Rusty Scheibert just trying to lighten the mood in the camp. Republic of Korea much more consistent throughout. You expect that the 3rd and 4th player stats will be a little bit lower than the first 2 players, with the difficulty of the shots increasing as the end goes on and there's more stones in play. But the 3rd player, Jung Seung Won, being the MVP really for Korea so far, playing 79%. Great stuff.
처음에 실수했잖아요. 똑같이. 근데 그거를 막았어요. 하여튼 지나간 건 잊었고 지금부터 다시 우리가 1점 앞서고 4엔드 경기한다고 생각합니다.
They try to hit and roll over it again, and it split. Then it gives us a double guard to roll in behind.
That's the game they're going to play. When they want to put up a guard and they miss it, they'll get that half shot. Boom, use it against them.
Okay.
Come right in.
Well, the debrief continues of that first half. The USA team will be saying that we just need to settle down a little bit now. We're not playing our best game at the moment, and that can probably be put down to nerves, but we've got a shot on the board now. And we can really kick on from here and put some more down. Korea have looked very comfortable here, the host nation.
독일 3대1로 이기고 있어요.
the second half. We're not going to do that. Yeah, we're not going to do that.
They don't need to worry about
But
that.
where's the time? I don't see it anywhere.
Advance
122 to go. How much? 122. I don't got a minute, probably 2 seconds.
You have to. Camera's on. You got to keep talking.
Rusty
Come on,
Schreiber,
man.
you're one handsome man. I can't
How's your
tell you.
cabin? How's your cabin in the woods?
It does look like the jokes are starting to flow in the US camp and look a bit more relaxed. And
All right, we got this.
Go get them.
we've got a little bit of food, a little bit more energy.
Do you have the cards out here?
Yep, got one
Okay.
in my pocket.
A couple of notes.
Just a little bit behind where we want to be on time. We wanna
Okay.
be
We are.
Yep, we want to be at 19
Well, we're fine.
minutes. We're at 18:48. Okay. But
We want to be at what?
we wanted to be at 19 minutes right now.
Okay.
We're at 18:48.
Okay.
Well, it's just really the draws that's the difference in the stats so far. Korea 10% up on the USA, 11% actually. Just seem to have a little bit better grasp of the playing conditions. Those two steals in the second and the third end have given Korea the advantage after the first half.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Penny, help me out. I'm stuck. Right. Down one. All right, we got first down. Jack, this is steal. Yep. 1, 2, 3. USA.
2, 3, 10.
Set us off, Penny. Set it up. We'll knock it on.
Intern.
Sir.
Oh, we got 2 brooms now.
Oh,
You picked up the wrong one.
I did. One's better than 2.
The 2's better than 1.
Well, the snacks
Three's
and
better than
discussions are over. 5-minute break complete.
2, 3.
And after scoring in the fourth end, for the first time in the game, the USA will start an end. Penny Greeley throwing the lead stones for the USA. And this might be a good thing for the USA as well. They've really not managed to get that much going with the last stone in the first end, in the first half of the game. So maybe they can mix things up and try something different here in end 5. Just crawls over that hog line. If that stops just 2 or 3 inches short, then it would be deemed not to be in the playing area and will be removed from play. Cutting it a little bit fine there, Penny.
That last stone that I drew that way. Boy,
Well, Bang Min Ja,
Game over.
the lead
2 inches.
for Korea, the only female player in the Korean lineup. Made a pretty good start, 81%
Yeah, so remember that
so
for
far
that
in the
side,
game.
probably have to go out
Good
to the
shooting.
board for more.
Yep.
Because I want to say you're about mid. You're right about
I was
mid.
right in the middle. Little maybe team was on the outside. but
And again, a nice draw by Bang Min Ja.
How much of that do you have? None. Come down to it. You got a time for me, Steve?
Yep. Last one was 13 right there.
Good line.
Well, we heard at the halftime break that the USA
go.
team are a little bit down on time in comparison to
Benny.
where they would like to be. They're just under 19 minutes, 38 minutes in total for the whole game. So for the second half, you would expect to have at least half your time left, which would be 19 minutes. And of course, as you get down to the crunch, get down to the last few stones and last couple of ends of the game, then the decisions do become a little bit more critical. So you do like to have a little bit more time on your side to help you to make the best decision. Bang Minja just looking for another draw around the outside on this anti-clockwise rotation. Oh, this looks like a lovely shot. Pretty good. Protects that yellow stone closest to the forefoot nicely. And all perfectly in line, and another good ends work from the Korean lead.
I see about a quarter of it.
You can get that.
Well, this will be a tricky shot here for Justin Marshall.
Yeah.
Can try and come around that stone in the front of the house and tap back the stone closest to the button. Well, Justin Marshall, the left-hander, coming down on the anti-clockwise handle this time.
Might be better. Come on. Close two.
Justin also played in the World Championship here in PyeongChang last year, the World Championship the year preceding the Paralympic Games, always in the same venue as a test event really. No World Championship in the Paralympic years in the wheelchair format. Well, Justin Marshall just overthrew that one a little bit and missed everything. So now Korea are going to try and block that path and stop them trying to play it again. Well, I bet a few people know this guy's name after last night at the opening ceremony for the Paralympic Games. Seo Soon-suk getting the privilege of lighting that Paralympic flame alongside Kim Yeon-jung, the skip of the women's team who won silver at the Olympic Games 2 weeks ago. The skip of the Garlic Girls, named after the area in Korea where that's their main kind of export, if you like, garlic. I was reading some interesting quotes from the Korean guys. Of course, the women's team for Korea at the Olympics, all their second names were Kim, and Seo Soon-suk. He said that he wanted their team to be known as the Avengers with 5 different names, because they all have different names and they like the Avengers, clearly. I think even more than that, they would like to be known as Paralympic gold medalists. What a treat that would be in their host nation. You know, the atmosphere in the Gangneung Curling Centre was absolutely electric during the Olympics when the Koreans were winning the semi-final. And Justin Marshall just over curls there and chips off the guard. I feel like USA needed to kick on after the halftime break, after getting their first point on the board. Had a few misses in a row now and desperately need to get something going here in this 5th end. So Korea lying 3 here, and they've got the hammer here in N5. Not a lot of rotation on this one from Seo Soon-suk. When the handle doesn't spin as much, it does tend to curl a little bit more, and that's exactly what's happened to the Korean skip and second player. Everything nicely in the line though.
Nice follow through. Nice follow through. Plug it in.
You see Steve Empt does adopt a slightly kind of offset approach to his wheelchair. They all do it differently, different techniques. Quite often you see the players facing straight towards the target, but Steve Empt going for that kind of 10 o'clock approach. Oh, just sneaks by the guard and chips that top one. Gets it right out of play, so cuts Korea to only lying 2. Oh, just past that guard. Really not a lot of space in there. Gets the job done though and clears a way in.
드로우 하나가 제일 좋아요.
Korea will be quite happy to replace that stone just removed by Steve Empt. And Jung Seung-won, for me, has been the star player really in this first session. 78% for the third.
라인 좋아요. 오케이. 오케이. 굿샷. 굿샷.
Oh, that's a terrific shot there. USA in big trouble, and they're going to need to try and switch things up a bit here. I think they're going to try and make a draw down the other side of the sheet this time. Just in there where Kirk Black's indicating with his brush. So a big deep breath here for Steve Empt. Desperately needs to find his draw weight that he's struggled with so far.
Go.
The line doesn't look too bad. Oh, it's actually over curled.
13-4.
Just chips off and leaves a guard, and Steve Empt
13-4.
just
That one's so
desperately needs to find a draw.
good. Still a little light or what?
Yeah. Yeah, it might have hit the top 12. Might.
지금 라인이 들어오는 게 나을 것 같아.
Oh, Korea are going to try and bury another one here. Just sink one right around that guard just thrown by Steve Empt. Just in there where Seo is indicating with his brush.
하나.
순서가 드로우 하나인데 좀 짧아도 되지.
안 돼, 짧으면 안 돼. 짧으면 안 돼, 이게 처음 들어가. 시간 가.
It looked like he was going to throw, but now everybody on the move as they all come together to establish what the best course of action is.
깊으면 따라 들어가니까.
하나 둘.
살짝만 밀었으면
아니면 필도 괜찮아.
필요하면 갖다 붙이면
같은
되니까.
라인 또 쓴다고.
갖다 붙이면 어떻게 하냐.
아예 선정하는 게 낫다니까.
갖다 붙이면 저 상황이 좋은데.
지금
어디를
들어가는
갖다
게
붙여?
상대가 갖다 붙.
아 지금은 들어간 게 낫다고 시간 동안.
확실히?
들어 하나 둘.
드로우 하나 둘.
스톤이 3개 남았으니까.
So important to have absolute clarity between all the players as to what the best result is.
드로우 둘까지 괜찮아. 둘, 셋.
So Korea just choosing to spend a little bit more time over that one and
후방.
establish that.
티까지 들어가면 안 돼.
여기
I
한
think
번도
they're
안
just
쓴다냐
looking for a
지금.
draw somewhere around the front of the white circle. Coming down on the clockwise handle. Most of the plays come down the other side on the anti-clockwise in this fifth end. They really want this one to stop short of the button. If they go past it at all, then USA will be able to follow it. Oh, that's a pretty good attempt there by Korea. Jung Seung-won continuing his excellent form.
지금 세 개가 비슷해. 세 개가.
You got it.
Justin, will the 12 wrap around there?
Yeah, well, you got just under half of it. I mean, it's curling a lot.
Well, I think we see some teams try and play a freeze here when they've not got the last stone. USA in big trouble of losing a big end here, so they could come down and just try and rest against that Korean yellow stone to lie second shot and out count 3 of the Korean yellow stones. They're going to play a takeout. The problem with this is that if they do make the takeout, realistically you would expect them to roll it into the open and leave the stone exposed for Korea to play a takeout of their own.
Work. Come on, baby. Come on.
Oh, looking pretty good. It's going to remove it. It's a good shot by Kirk Black, but as I suggested, rolls out into the open and should be an easy takeout back for Korea. Really well judged here by the USA skip. Perhaps a little bit of an indication of how Kirk is feeling about his draw game at the moment, favouring that takeout. Jay going, playing 59%. Oh, makes a roll inside as well. Terrific stone. Well, I talked about the draw, the freeze with that previous one. Here's another look at this hit and roll. Just inside the centre and rolls over to the top of the button. In behind cover. Could be a narrow gap between the 2 red stones at the front, but oh, that would be so dangerous. So
13.
USA will be forced to play the draw around this time. Well, they'll just be happy for anything kind of in around second shot position here. Ideally, they want to come up short of that yellow stone on the button, but a tough ask here for Kirk Black.
Come on.
Well, he's got a good line here. How's the weight? Needs to finish in the 4-foot to lie second. Well, that's a pretty good attempt there by Kirk Black. Korea only lying 1 after that one, but the worry here is this one just wanted to stop around there, but just drifts a few feet too far. Now Korea have a chance to tap that red stone through to score as many as 5. Nervy moments here for the USA. They'll really be praying for a miss from Cha Jae-kwon with his last one.
10초. 스톤이 셋에 쌓인.
너무 많아. 조금만.
백으로?
아니, 범퍼.
오케이.
Well, the call from the Hacks, just a little bit less ice required, please. Skip.
약하면 안 돼.
오케이.
Oh, Cha Jae-kwon, he's got that handle there just to brace himself and give him a little bit more torque as he throws the stone. Just choosing to reset, wasn't quite ready to throw that one. And he knows how important a shot this is. Final stone of the 5th end. Cha Jae-kwon. Chance to score 5 for Korea. Well, he's got it. He's got the red stone out of there, and he puts 4 on the board for Korea. Utterly dominant stuff from the Korean team, and the host nation going wild in the Gangneung Curling Centre. That's going to open up a 5-shot lead for Korea after 5 ends. And just when you thought USA were starting to get it together, They've fallen apart here in the fifth end. A really well played end. The best of the match from Korea. And they score 4. 5 ends played here in this first session, and the host nation, Korea, now leading the USA by 6 shots to 1. Well, this Paralympic Games is being billed as the biggest Paralympics ever. 567 athletes taking part from 48 countries, and of course the Neutral Paralympic Athletes delegation included. 3 new countries taking part in this Winter Games: Georgia, the DPR Korea, and Tajikistan making their first appearance at a Winter Games. And 80 medal events being contested across 6 different sports. Just the one here at the curling. 12 nations battling it out for those 3 medals. Just out of interest, the previous biggest Paralympics in terms of athletes, the number of athletes contesting medals was 1998 in Nagano, 562 athletes, so only 5 more here in PyeongChang, but still a great achievement all the same. And USA have 68 of these athletes, and Republic of Korea 36. But the host nation on top here in wheelchair curling session 1, 6-1, utterly dominant here so far. That big score in the 5th end blowing this wide open for a 6-1 lead. Bangmin-ja being very steady here. No sign of nerves from the Korean lead. And 2 perfect stones here to start this 6th end.
Beautiful shot.
And immediately, once again, USA on the back foot here. Penny Greeley and Justin Marshall being very steady, actually. Their stats in around the mid-70s. Penny just going to bump these 2 yellow stones around. Oh, lovely shot by the American lead.
Good shot.
So with the 6-1 lead, Korea don't really need to push the button anymore. They don't need to score any more shots. They just really need to stop the USA scoring. So expect them to take a very defensive approach as we kind of come down the stretch here. 6th end of a regulation 8. Not that much time for USA to recover this 5-shot deficit that they face at the moment. Well, a slight mistake here by Seo Sun-suk will keep the USA interested. Very close to being a great shot there. Just over curls a fraction, and it causes Korea to lose their own stone and leave USA lying in shot position with that stone on the tee line, cutting the house horizontally. And now USA can start to bring that corner guard into play that Penny Greeley played with her first stone of the end. Looking a bit hot at the moment. Will this rear up in time? Really needs to stop in the house, and it drifts through. And that's been the story of the day so far for USA here on day one. Any time that they've had a chance, just not being able to follow it up with another good shot or two to turn it into a great chance. And now it's just an open takeout for Korea. Seo Sun-suk. Doesn't want to touch his own Yellowstone, just sneaks by it and gets rid of it. Well, rolls out of the house, and it doesn't matter too much for Korea. I mean, when you're leading by 5, then you don't have to worry too much about keeping your stones in play. Well, that one could still be used to the USA's advantage later on if it was needed. USA are going to ignore the Yellowstone in the house with this one and try and tuck one in behind. The same shot called again here for Justin Marshall. Just an overcorrection. It happens so often. You throw one heavy, you try and just take a little bit off for the next one, and you take a lot off. And it's back-to-back misses for the American second. Body language not looking great for the USA at the moment. They need to bounce back with a score of 2 or 3 here in the 6th end if they realistically want to have a chance of winning here. So with there being a few guards kicking about now, Korea are going to mix it up a little bit and throw the draw.
Whoa! Shot!
Choosing to go to the open side though. Nice shot there by Jung Seung-won. Steve, I think he likes this one. He's not had a lot to shout about today. Well, actually, doesn't curl enough. He was happy with that throw, but maybe just a little bit too much ice and chips off. Trying to keep positive out there, but it's been a real struggle for the USA so far. This bout has been absolutely formidable here. Completely hit the ground running here in this Paralympic Games. Playing an incredible 84%. And another one good down in beside this yellow stone, and Korea lying 3 in the 6th end. USA just not able to get anything going so far. Still a few stones to come though. Still 3 stones for the USA to play. They won't like those 2 yellow stones in close to the button though, and they know that they can't afford to give up a steal. Got a very consistent pre-shot routine. Steve Empt gets himself set, gets the right angle, nice deep breath, and sends it on its way. Doesn't find quite the right contact there. I think he would have liked to move the other yellow stone as well.
First one's on me. It didn't come off that center line at all.
Well, as I thought, Kirk Black just admitting to Steve Empt that he was given too much ice for his first stone. He threw it well, but it just didn't seem to curl off that center line as they thought it would. Maybe a lesson to be learned for future shots.
Or you come over here. No, it's got to be over there, huh?
Yeah, we're hitting over here.
Yep.
Roll off the shot right.
Well, Jae Gwon keeps up the good work for Korea with that hit. Kirk Black is going to have to pull out a fantastic shot here if they want to score 2 in this 6th end. He knows that he can't afford to leave that yellow stone in the top of the forefoot, so they're going to play a takeout, try and roll over behind the guards. Tough shot though. This one's going to be a big ask.
Oh, look at this.
This one looks like it's over curling. Doesn't want to touch that top one. Oh, gets a little rumble off the wide ones. And actually finishes in an okay position. Over there out the way. He has left 2 yellow stones in there though. Korea lying 2.
이거까지 갈게, 재현아, 이거까지.
So Seo Soon-sok looking for one just somewhere in between those 2 yellow stones really. Somewhere in front of them.
그럼 저기가 맞은 것도 같은데.
가운데 붙이려고 그래.
스톤이 센터에서 왼쪽에 있어.
여기가 아니고 여기.
오케이.
포켓에 들어오면 되잖아.
화이팅!
Well, all Korea want to avoid here is leaving USA with a double takeout to score 2. So as long as they can get one inside the wide red and lie 3, then you would think that the best USA can do is score 1.
오케이 잘 왔어. 저 알아. 오케이. 좀만 죽어야 돼.
This one running a little bit wider than planned, so should leave a reasonably straightforward shot to score 1 for Kirk Black.
What? A little more weight than the last one.
A little more weight.
They just need to be careful if you cast your minds back to Steve Empt's shot. They thought it ran pretty straight on the center line here, and you don't want to be wide here. Final stone of the 6th end. Kirk Black hits on the inside and rolls wide, and I think that might be a steal of 1 for Korea.
Yep.
Rolls out there, and it outcounts the wide yellow, but I think they're going to have a closer look at this one and decide.
They got one?
No decision made at this point, but from this overhead, it looks very much like a score of 1 for Korea. There's another very solid end from Korea. Really playing some great stuff. And that steal of 1 confirmed after 6 ends. Republic of Korea 7, United States of America 1. And it really has been that draw game that the United States have struggled with, way down on the Korean stats. Korea 82% for their draws against the United States, 51%. Just a real gulf in the draw ability in this game anyway. Korea just look like they've settled into this Paralympic Winter Games a little bit more quickly than the USA. Well, and Bang Min-ja knows exactly where the house is. Every single end she's managed to put one in there close to the button. Great setup play again by the Korean lead. So USA trailing by 6 shots, just 2 ends to go. Really running out of time here. Penny Greeley's had a good game, playing in her 2nd Paralympic Winter Games.
Very nice, Penny.
Again, plays a nice corner guard. Perhaps that additional experience that Penny has in having competed in 2 Paralympic Games before, showing as she is playing significantly higher stats than her teammates. She played in the 2004 Summer Games in sitting volleyball, winning a medal there, winning a bronze. That's not what Korea would have wanted there. Leading by 6, you don't want to be throwing guards up. That's going to be a useful stone potentially for the USA, something else to hide behind. That's the first mistake really we've seen from Bang Min-ja. She's been absolutely imperious so far in this game.
$11-8.
11-8 would say through the house. They've been talking about 13 seconds for a T-line draw.
Let's get it all out now. Let's get it all out. Let it go. Get it all out, come back, fight another day.
Because I like Steve Empt's chat out on the ice. He was saying that we might as well just play all our bad shots here in this first game, get it all out the system. I think they're resigned to defeat here in this first session. And they'll be thinking, well, we can get our bad shots out of the way here, then we can play all our good ones in all the other games. That would be just fine. Seo Sun Sok going for the peel on this corner guard. Just feathers it and rumbles the back yellow as well. They won't be too worried about that though. Less stones in play, less for USA to work with, and a few smiles going around for that one. Traditionally, the skips will throw the 4th stones like Kirk Black and the USA do, but sometimes, like in Republic of Korea's instance, you have the skip throwing the 2nd stones. It's just whatever works for your team. They also feel like there's players better at throwing the last couple of stones at the end, and
14-5.
it's something that works for them. I think Justin Marshall's just lost his focus now. He's missed a couple of shots in the previous end, and maybe he's just given up on this one and saving himself for the next session.
약간 오른쪽. 오른쪽.
So again, just trying to peel some guards here and open things up. And they get one of them away, but it still leaves a couple of guards up there.
5-6. Yep.
Well, the good news for the USA is that if they do go on to lose this one, then they have the night off tonight to regroup. They're not playing in the second session. They'll return tomorrow morning to play against Germany in day 2. This almost becomes like practice for the USA at the moment as they try and get a little bit of feel, get a little bit more
13-5.
understanding about the playing conditions, and most importantly, try and
Hold on.
rebuild a
One
little
and a
bit
half.
of confidence of what's been a difficult afternoon for the USA.
Sure.
휠체어 자국 나잖아. 지금 얼음이 조금 초가 달라졌어요. 얼음이 지금 녹기 시작했어요. 물기가 있어.
Well, Korea not even considering throwing any draws.
7초. 7초.
Already leading by 6.
자꾸 줄인다.
Just going to try and lose a few more shots in play.
Whoa.
빠져.
He hits that one on the wrong side, but the shooter still rolls away, and that's not actually too bad a result. Still a couple of guards though to be used. Here's another look, just over curls, hits it on the wrong side, and that red does go.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the draw shot has not been Steve Empt's friend today at all. Staying positive though. There's that long, deep breath, and then off it goes.
That doesn't sound good coming off a stick. That does not sound good. The weight?
Weight was good.
I don't know. That doesn't sound
Well, it's typical, isn't it? You finally find the weight, and this time you lose the
Just clicks come off.
the line. So whether he's having some equipment issues with his stick,
더 걸려야 되는 거 아니야?
or whether it's a technique issue, I'm not quite sure at the moment.
형님
But
이거 줄거 아니야.
Steve will need to try and work it out before they come back
로테이션 주세요.
tomorrow. This guy's generally had it worked out today, hasn't he? He's had a super game.
Whoa.
Well, that one's just drifted a little bit too far. Jung Sung Won right down onto the back line.
I had 12-3 on
3
that.
stones still to come here for the USA, and they want to score with all of them if they want to have any hope here. Got those 2 guards staggered in the center line. Steve Empt coming on the
Good line.
anti-clockwise. Seems a bit more content with that release than his previous effort.
There you go.
This one looking pretty good. Oh, big cheer goes up for Steve Empt. Puts one right down onto the edge of the button.
Here you go, blow some kisses. Come on, baby.
I think we're going to enjoy watching this USA team this week. They're a fun bunch, lots of good discussions.
Texas and Korea. You ever seen this TV show, Fixer Upper?
Kirk Black offering some support to Steve Empt. I think he'll be happy with that one. Nice to get a good draw under his belt that he can hold in his mind going forward into the next session when they play against Germany.
잘 가고 있어요.
Oh, this one looks pretty good as well, though. Chaje going just a little bit shy of weight, but an excellent line. Well, all of a sudden, USA's interest has peaked. Kirk Black can wrap another one round here to lie 2, and maybe a chance to score 3 still alive. Coming down on the opposite handle from the one that Steve Empt threw, coming down the right-hand side there. And they'll just try and rest one against their own red on the button.
Like top 8? Do you want to? Or do we just put one up there and for tap?
Wouldn't be the worst thing ever if you came down to it, but top 8's fine. As long as your second count.
Well, bare minimum, they want to score 2. They want to be lying 2, sorry, after this stone. I'm kind of in the Justin camp on that one. I think they want to be down there in the freeze because just scoring 2 is not enough, so they need to make space to get a third one in there. And if they come up at the front of the rings, then it's going to be difficult to do. This is a very important shot here for Kirk Black in N7. An absolute must make for the American skip. He seems interested in it at the moment. How's it looking? Down over the hog line. Is it past the guards? It isn't. It's over curled. Not enough weight on that one for the American skip. That's a real let off for Korea. Once again, it's been the problem throughout, hasn't it? It's been one good shot, then one bad shot, and then one okay shot. There's been no consistency, no stringing a series of shots together for the USA, and that's what's cost them, really. Well, Cha would very much like to show USA how it should have been done. I'll try and freeze on that red stone in the button. Well, it's not in the guards, that's for sure. Hanging a little high at the moment. Oh, just bounces off. That was the speed there, really, that beat that one. And now Kirk Black with a chance to score 2 for the USA.
지금 프리즈 해가지고 1점 주는 게.
That's all right.
So just anywhere touching that white circle, really. The 8-foot circle will be good enough to put a deuce on the board for the first time in the game for the USA. Well, it looks like a good line. How's the weight? Needs to stop. Oh, it's going to come down and use that redstone as a bit of a buffer. 2 points for the USA here in the 7th end. Much better end, really set up by that super draw by Steve Emp, that one we've been longing for throughout the game. The Korean coaching bench and alternate will be really quite happy with what they've seen so far here in this first session.
쟤네도 안 할 수도 있어. 자, 파이팅하고 가요.
Well, just one end to come here, and Korea will have the last stone in the 8th, leading by 7 shots to 3. Well, I bet Kirk Black will be wishing that he'd done that with his first stone in the end, and he could have a chance to score 3, but again, the story remains the same. It's the draws that are just letting the USA down at the moment. Just don't seem to be able to feel the ice out there. No, is this one over the hog line? We saw it go precariously close a few ends ago. Oh, and is that one over? We're going to need to take a closer look there. But if that's touching the red hog line at all, it will be removed, unfortunately. Well, he's left it. If I was the Korean skipper, I'd be going for a look myself.
한 개만 하고 하자고.
Well, Korea in a very, very strong position here, leading by 4. They've got the last stone as well. And it's going to take something absolutely spectacular from the USA for them to even extend this game. And this is the final end of regulation time. Bang Min-ja just throwing this one away, really. They don't even want this one in play. That's how good a position they're in. And it just sneaks through.
Did we get it?
That one just getting a little bit too far away from Penny Greeley. So 7-3, Korea lead. USA needing more guards, really. This one's a little bit deep, runs into the house, and there is a rule called the free guard zone rule in curling, where the lead stones out front of the house can't be removed by the opposition, and by drifting into the house there, it really gifts Korea the chance to make a takeout, whereas they would have had to think of something else had Greeley been short of the house. Well, we've not really seen any takeouts from Min-ja. She's going to be asked for one here. She only played one previously in the game. And she's played a good one here. Great shot by the Korean lead.
I don't know. Do you throw up another center guard here? Center guard.
Well, USA are talking about throwing another guard, but they don't have that many stones to work with. They need to score 4 to extend the game, so they're going to have to start piling them into the house at some point.
Yes, it is.
The worry at the moment is that they don't have any guards out front to work with.
Nice stone.
Shot, Justin.
Yeah, that's a good shot there from Justin Marshall. Tucks one in behind that guard just over the hog line, which is really far too long. So to get one in behind, and you would expect that Korea will choose to peel the top guard off so that they can have a shot at that other guard with the next one. No heroics required. They don't want to throw another one into the house because, as I said before, they've got a 4-shot lead that they've earned. Don't need to score any more points. Seo Sun-suk over curls actually and gets an even better result than the shot they called. Removes the dangerous guard closer to the house and opens things up. Lovely shot there by Seo.
Well, you got to get a second guard up. Even if you freeze in there, I don't think that helps.
So now just 5 red stones to come. 4 of them need to count for USA. And it looks a lot like their time is running out. Only in a metaphorical sense, though. They do have plenty of time left on the clock.
Very nice.
Nice stone, Justin.
Thank you.
Well, it plays a good guard once again, really replaces the one he played with his first one, or replicates it. But that red stone can still be seen quite easily by Korea, so they'll just choose to remove this one with Seo Sun-suk's final stone of the 8th end, playing the second position, the skip. Mistake here. Oh, and stuffs it onto the yellow in the house. That'll just keep the game alive for a few more stones and keep USA interested. A disastrous result here for Korea.
13.
So now USA have a couple of guards and they just need to start piling them in there. Only 4 to come. They need to score 4 to extend this game. Oh, I bet he's kicking himself at the moment, Son Sun-suk. Steve Empt looking revitalized after that terrific draw in the previous end.
Bye.
Oh, just clicks the guard. Could do it getting it in there. Oh, comes up a little bit short, so Korea will just hit the open one.
Good time on that, Kirk?
12-7.
Again, the USA, the door opens a little bit and then they just shut it on themselves once again.
Good weight.
So Jun Seung-won to make it nearly impossible for USA, just needs to get this red out. Oh, and he's missed it. He's missed it, and all of a sudden USA still alive here, looking to tuck another one around the guards. Oh, he's had such a good game, Jung Seung-won. That was very uncharacteristic. So Steve Empt looking for another one of those draws that we saw in the 7th end.
Good line.
He had nice weight with his previous one. Just needs a little bit more space to get past the guard. Well, manages to get past the guards this time and sticks another one in there. Lovely shot by Steve Empt. Leaves lots of room to get more in behind two. Korea just need to keep their concentration here because USA are playing a good eighth end.
Good right away. So your turn, boy. You got this. You got this.
You got 3 minutes.
그대로 간다. 잉?
계산
괜찮아?
가능하죠.
아니 너무 많지 않냐고.
아까는 8.8이었어요 웨이트. 근데 저 이제 지금 나이 더 잡았잖아요.
Well, John Seung-won needing to correct that previous mistake. Doesn't need anything fancy, just needs to get those red stones out.
Wait.
Well, he's given it the old body language, a bit of a lean. Has he got it? Has he got it? Oh, he has, and he's got the other one as well. That's it. That's game over there after that fabulous final stone from Jung Seung-won. What a shot by the third player. And you think he couldn't hit one the first time, and he makes a high difficulty shot like that. And Cha Jae-gon in the background knows it. I don't know why we're still playing here because the most that USA can score is 3.
왜 그래?
저 앞에 걸 클리어하면 깔끔하게 끝나는 건데 지금.
Now they're going to have a shot at this draw anyway, maybe a little bit more target practice. I think the official's just coming out to say,
Kirk.
what are we doing here,
Kirk.
guys?
That's off.
What?
That's off. Out of bullets.
It's completely off.
No.
Then let's shake.
He just wants to keep playing out there, but
He knew that.
I think common sense has prevailed
Don't let
here.
him. Great game.
You're not
Sure.
really supposed to play on when you can't actually win the game. The Koreans were very polite and respectful there, but I think a lot of teams would have said, that's enough, guys, you can't win anymore.
You knew
So
that, right?
it's all finished up here in the first session. The host nation, Korea, looking very strong and making a great start. They've beaten the USA in a game that could have gone either way, but just came down to the difference in those third and skip stones. Korea really doing a bit of a number on their opposite positions. And they'll get their first win of the week. They'll be back to play this evening against the neutral Paralympic athletes. And USA will be back tomorrow morning on day 2 to play against Germany.
코리아. 아리.
야, 너 아들 좀 쳐다봐.
어디 있어? 아들.
We're going to skip.
So the final score, Republic of Korea 7, United States of America 3. And the three male players really struggling with the stats, 58, 48, 48. And you compare that to the numbers of the Koreans. So Seo Sun-seok 61, Seung-won 73, and then Jae-gon 66. It's a real gulf. And those 3 stolen points make a big difference as well. There's that score of 4 as well for Korea, but the draw game is where Korea won today. Well, it's been a very exciting first session here in the Gangneung Curling Centre. USA against Korea. It was Korea who came out on top by a final score of 7 shots to 3. It was a tight game through till half time, but then Korea blowing the game open with that score of 4 in the 5th end. And then Korea would run out victorious and get their first win of the week for the host nation. They'll be back tonight against Germany, and the USA will be back tomorrow morning on day 2 against the neutral Paralympic athletes. Thanks for watching.